So, Miss Christopher, right, decided to state that real black positive news don't make money. However, talking about black women or men, acting as if you care about men, do. I've seen many black channels get shut down for making us aware of real black news. Yet again, another shot. We are aware of negative content that other cultures and people put out about us. Another shot. We know this is your only job and you got to eat at the disrespect of your people. Got it. So, what people don't understand, right, that she's speaking on is the fact that I brought to you guys further proof and I brought a video of how you have the black women out here deciding that they want to have platforms and different things of that nature, right? Which is nothing's wrong with that, right? And within that exact same video, you clearly hear black women saying that they get turned on at the fact of seeing young black boys, young black men, and black men in general being brutalized, having their lives taken, and quote unquote being dominated, right, by the men that they find attractive. How it is such a real, turn on, how it just presses, all types of, sexual buttons for them. And then last but not least, they said that specifically those types of topics and conversations revolving around black men being brutalized, right, by their preference, and how that is such a turn on because they're watching black men being dominated by their preference. That's saved for the back room. That is saved for when the door is closed, right? Meaning that that is not for the open platform that they are on, where every and anybody is freely able to hear it. It's only left on certain areas, right, where it is just them, where they can just live in that and they can talk about it the way that they want to really, talk about it. But like I said before, she wants to state that, hey, Seiji doesn't want to do positive news. The only reason that Seiji's platform is, in a sense, even still around is due to the fact that all he does is negative news that negatively talks about black women. Well, she wanted to add in black men as well, which realistically she doesn't care about black men. But like I said, people will try to make it seem as though they care when realistically they do not. Because as I've stated before, if any of the people that consistently come here who are women state that they care about black women, then they would have already made themselves platforms where they can put out all the positive news that they would want to put out so that black people, or I guess more so specifically, black women, can see a reflective positive image of black women out here doing, the greatest of things. But that's just not the case. That's not what they're doing. They will come here, they will decide to complain, they will decide to leave comments, they will continue to, in a sense, maybe watch 5 seconds or just look at a title, get their mind together, drink their coffee, and then decide to leave a comment without actually listening or looking at the video that is specifically a part of the topic at hand. Like I said, there's no saving a lot of people out here. And for the most part, I'm pretty sure that I've covered, a lot of topics. I've covered topics, like I said before, hey, dealing with black men. I've done live streams, in a sense, dedicated to that, right? Haven't really done live streams in a sense dedicated, solely to black women, because I'm not a black woman at the end of the day. But I do have a live stream up there with black women who are a part of the panel, and we're having real topics and conversations. And they have room to basically talk about their feelings and different things of that nature. But like I said, people don't want to look that far though. Um, and I've, done videos, dedicated and talking about black men and different things of that nature, and so on and so on and so on. Either good, the bad, or the ugly dealing with black men, I've pretty much covered that. The moment in times that I've done these videos, I really, in a sense, didn't give a focus to black women because I felt as though black women should be the ones, 100% doing that. But when I go out here and I look at social media, which is the main delicacy, right, that people like to take in, digest, and eat, I don't really see a lot of black women doing it. I can name to you a few that I do see doing it and that are specifically calling these things out. And they've literally made platforms to do this, right? To combat all of this, other type of rhetoric that is out there. But it's very few, far and in between. With those platforms, those women are doing God's work at that moment in time because, like I said before, everybody needs to be put in check, right? So if you got men out here making platforms and they're also dedicating time, or they're solely making platforms and they're trying to reach and get in touch with black men and make them understand certain things, you should then, in the same lane, have black women doing the exact same thing. But like I said before, at the end of the day, you have one side who has been made to blame for every single thing for since the beginning of time versus the other side who is like, nah, nothing is our fault. Everything is perfect over here, and we are to blame for nothing at all. Like I said before, I don't know what type of generation or who's exactly raising these women out here. Like I said, it's pretty much a lost cause because, like I said before, I'm going to keep saying um, my mother, my grandmother, and both of my aunts, all of those women who are in my lives and that I've consistently talked about on this platform as the positive aspects that have positively affected me. I've never at one point in time seen them run their mouth right the same way that I have seen a lot of black women directly out here. At no point in time have I seen them basically state that something that specifically is their fault that they have done, that it's not their fault, and that they're going to decide to blame a man, a black man that they had a negative interaction with in a relationship for the reasons of this, that, and the third. I've never seen that before. Never. So like I said before, when I talk about these things, I'm coming from a point of all of this is completely foreign to me because the black women that I have in my life, they've always been respectable, valuable, upstanding, and they've always accepted and taken responsibility for anything that they have done and not thrown responsibility on anybody else out here. Like I said, there's a clear cut difference of what real women are versus the others.
Here comes a new challenger.
Yet again, the same person that quote unquote detests and that dislikes Kevin Samuels is right back up here again, and they can't seem to find or put up an actual picture of themselves, leave comments. Like I said, it is what it is. Um, you do detest black women, therefore the feeling is more than mutual. Sir, your mask fell off a long time ago. Black Stan is doing way too much. So y'all have no room to say anything about anybody. Where's the smoke for the individual? I'm not going to say that because they're this, like I said, if you let people talk long enough, they'll show you exactly who they are. Anytime you start to see wording like this where it starts with an N, I'm just going to say Lakers, right? Just replace that with an N. That's them trying to call and use, a certain type of terminology, right? A certain type of individual like Isaiah Burr. Now, I'm just going to speak in between, a lot of the stuff. Now, I looked up the story from what I could gather because I didn't focus too much. Because I'm trying to do this and many other things. So basically what took place from what I can understand is that that individual decided that he wanted to use a dating app to go after women, right? I'm not sure if he might have took some lives or if it was assault. Any which way, it was in a negative sense, and it should not have been done at all. This is again why I have advocated for women to learn much more about having a license to carry. Going out to the range, learning the ins and outs of a weapon. This is why I've also stated that women should go out and learn hand to hand combat. Because at any point in time that a woman decides that she wants to go out here online and risk her life and meet a random guy, this is the potentiality and this is the real world of what could potentially happen. You have men out here who just do not care, and they just want to do whatever it is that they want to sit up there and do, that they find interesting to them. So it is up to you, since you are on these dating apps and you are going to see these men, that you need to sit up there and protect yourself. If you literally go out here as a woman and you use a dating app to meet a random guy, you go back to his place, how do you expect, men to automatically come out here like Superman and, just show up to the door as soon as you touch your watch? That's not how that works. You and that guy are in a place by yourself. Nobody knows what's going on. More than likely, your family doesn't even know where you are. More than likely, your best friend doesn't even know where you are because you decided to take a chance. And that's exactly what this is: people taking chance and risks with their lives. So, like I said before, I've always stated that women need to be a lot smarter when it deals with doing things like this. I've even used my own examples when explaining these things when it details relationships that I have been with. But, like I said, people don't want to pay attention and to listen to all of those helpful things. They only want to see it as that, oh, you're just coming negatively at black women. You just hate black women, this, that, and the third. You never actually really cared, and yada, 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 right? So let's continue. Y'all only want to pretend to care when you think white men did something to black women. Now, this is a difference between thinking that they're doing something versus actually doing. It's a difference between me talking about a Chad Wheeler case, right? Where he actually did do something to a black woman, and I did talk about that story. And then on top of that, you, along with many of the other divestors, are not saying anything about how his court case has seemingly month to month to month always been delayed, while the black woman that was with him suffered concussions. She suffered memory loss. She has to go through surgeries. She has to go through therapy. But oddly enough, I'm the bad guy because I'm not talking about a specific story that you decided that you wanted to sit up there and focus in on and that you specifically took the time out to know about versus any other story out here. But I'm the bad guy because I talked about the Chad Wheeler story twice and I brought it to black women to showcase that the system does not care about them. That the men that you decide are your preference, realistically in general, they do not care about you or your life. This is why that court case has been delayed so many times. This is why Chad is still out here. But like I said before, I digress. So then later the person said, so you can say that I told you so, as if being around you is any safer. You know, the funniest thing about that is I love how people actually talk as if they actually know me and have been around me throughout my different walks, in life. It's amazing to me how people can literally sit here online and actually talk as if they know a person 100%. That's the craziest thing. But, like I said before, it is what it is. This person obviously thinks that I am detrimental, that I am harmful, that I am violent towards black women. But yet they don't have anything else other than their words. But like I said, people are in a sense free to say the things that they want to sit up there and state. And as that is, I am free to clearly showcase that ignorance and that stupidity directly on my platform as my alarm goes off on my phone. Now, this next one I had to do a little bit differently and have a little bit more special care for because this person, I decided the story that you see above, I literally dedicated a whole video, had their name up there. They said I wasn't going to do the story. How come I didn't do the story? And I actually did do the story. But the thing is, they don't like the way that I, actually did the story. I guess they wanted me to talk and do it a certain type of way, right? So this person basically wrote, I'm not surprised by your weak response, right? Meaning the story. Why didn't you include the long, slow intro with those tacky sneakers? Actually, I'm doing another one directly for you. This one is actually with the pair of Marvel, right? Esque sneakers that I decided to, throw together, myself. So, regardless on if you say that they're, tacky or not, people out there are actually, wearing, my shoes. If you actually created something, you wouldn't be worried about, what it is that I'm doing because you would actually be doing your own thing. But, to each is their own, right? Anyway, you seem to enjoy mocking us and dancing around a certain detail in the news story to protect your African American people. Now, the interesting thing about this is the fact, dealing with this very same story, the main thing that the media didn't state is the fact that the person is Asian American. I put that directly in the story, and I also stated that exact same thing. So I didn't exactly miss anything. And then the other thing that I also listed was the fact that I've never heard of a Tamil Esco before ever in my life. That is not a normal black name. That is not a black American name at all. So, like I said, I don't know exactly who or what a Tamil Esco is. So, up until further notice, that is what it is. It's just a person that has a brown complexion, that committed a crime against a Asian American, right? So let's continue. How long do you think people are going to put up with these attacks? What if Asian Americans, what if Asian Americans and Asian American females started attacking random African Americans out in the streets unprovoked at a high rate, whether they be male or female, young or old? How would you feel about that? Well, I've actually done a video showcasing at least one attack that did take place, and that was actually, pretty sad. It should not have, taken place directly at all. Actually, I had covered a story that deals with just that. But instead of me speaking directly on it, I'm going to let somebody else speak for me.
Americans have weaponized our proximity to whiteness in order to murder black people. George Floyd and Latasha Harlins should be here today, but they aren't because of our individual actions and our collective inaction. We can't just blame white people for pitting us against each other either, because the fact of the matter is that Asian cultures have a huge colorism problem and a huge problem with black people.
Too angered by anti-Asian hate, police say this man decided to attack a white woman to get even, but he assaulted an Asian woman by mistake. Good evening, I'm Pat Harvey, and tonight that man is free on bail, and CBS 2 Orange County reporter Michelle Gili just confronted him.
Mr. Reed?
Yeah,
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Accused kidnapper Michael Sangbong Ri is back at home in Lake Forest after posting a $100,000 bond to get out of jail. Detectives say the 37-year-old is accused of attacking an Asian woman last Thursday in broad daylight as she sat in her car in this Irvine apartment community a mile from police headquarters. Officials say Michael Ri had a gun and tried to sexually assault her. And Ri's apparent motive is being revealed and is considered a hate crime according to police. Detectives say the crime was motivated by Ri's desire to seek retaliation for recent hate crimes targeting the Asian community. It is believed Ri targeted the victim because he thought she was white.
So we can clearly see that the Asian American community has a problem, and it's a silent and deafening problem. But clearly, you don't want to talk about any of that at all. I've covered a multitude of stories where Asian Americans who own beauty supplies and nail shops have decided to put hands on black women in the black community, and they thought that it was all well and good because normally, if you look at Asian culture, this is seemingly how they like to treat their own women. If you don't believe me, I also did a video covering that very same thing, that very same topic in Australia, where you had some Asian Australians, right, that had a nail shop, and the male, right, who owns that shop decided that he wanted to put hands on one of the workers. And all of the other men that were there, they stood there. The man's wife who was there, that while he was going after the other Asian woman, she was there as well, not doing anything. So I clearly know how women get treated in that culture. It's, live and it's captured in, 4K. Then I just remember you said my weak response, and then I just dawned on me, what I've stated in a variety, videos just like that. You don't like the fact that I, in a sense, called out the Asian community. You're angry at the fact that I did not go after the story like you felt that I should have, along with a few other things, here and there. And like I said, that's a personal problem at the end of the day. Like I said, you're sitting up here trying to say, a lot of stuff, but you're not really saying nothing. But I'm showing you clear cut what I'm talking about. This is clear cut a commercial for Asians where it is showing bleaching type of pills that they can use in order to whiten their skin so that they don't end up dark. Look at that. I guess what that woman was saying in the first clip is, look at that, making a little bit more sense there. Let's continue. I guess you wouldn't give a care because you're so tough, smart, and funny and clever, right? Here comes a new challenger, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm pretty sure you would be right here on YouTube complaining and moaning about how much the Asian/Asian American community has always hated the African American community in the past. The most interesting thing about that is actually no, I wouldn't. The main thing that I've actually done is showcase to the Asian community the real perpetrators of these crimes historically that have been taking place. Like I said, I don't have time really for if, ands, or buts. I'm dealing with the straight facts. Like I said before, go back, and I've done videos on this too. Go back and look at the 1950s, 60s, and so on and so on, and look at the signs that they made and look at what it detailed about people in the Asian community and how it stated that they didn't want you in their neighborhood. They didn't want you in their businesses. They didn't want you in their cities and or their towns. And look at all of the actual slurs that they decided to use, right, on those signs. And those were posted publicly. Were you outspoken and speaking like you are right now? No, you're not. You know why you're able to be outspoken and speaking like you are right now? You can thank the Black community for that, because without the Black community taking the huge brunt, 99%, right, of the amount of atrocities and the horrendous things that took place to Black people, without Black people sitting up there going out on the front lines and losing their lives and sacrificing, you would not be running your mouth the way that you run your mouth at this moment in time. So like I said, regardless of not on, however you feel about me, one thing you will sit up here and do is respect Black people, whether you like it or not. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, the mouth that you're running right now, you wouldn't be able to run that wherever your lineage is from. You're not going to be able to sit up there and talk like that back in your country. You're not going to be doing that. You're not going to have nothing to say. Like I said before, because they got different rules and regulations there. Let you sit up there and go back to wherever you're from and go start speaking out against the government. In some places, you'll end up having your life taken by the government in public. You'll be jailed or put in prison. So, like I said, watch your tone where you at. Watch your tone, right? And would I be complaining? No, because the main thing that I've stated before is that there's a such thing called karma. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that, especially other ethnicities and groups of people. That, all the things that you've decided to allow and that you wanted to um, do, alongside with your God, all of that is going to come right back to you. Like, it's amazing at this moment in time, everybody wants to, in a sense, act as though they've gone through the exact same things that Black people have gone through in history. It's completely baffling to me when everybody clearly says that they're different and that nothing is holding them back, and that, racism, bigotry, and discrimination does not exist, and that Black people need to stop being victims and get over the past. When realistically, we're not even just talking about the past, we're talking about the present and the future. But, like I said, it is what it is. You said you would spin the story and play the victim card, and for your fellow African Americans, the comment section would be filled with hate and racism like it always is, which you allow it to fester down here because you agree with it. Also, you said you don't have time for this, but in fact, you do have time for this because you don't have an actual job, since you're a YouTuber that sits around all day doing absolutely nothing. You aren't that special, and no one is crying for your attention. Well, the funniest thing about saying that nobody actually cares about the stuff that I do, what I have to say, nobody cares about the platform, nobody's crying for my attention, is the fact that you come here for a second time, yet again, under a video that has nothing to do about you or your people, and you decide that you want to bring up this story yet again. Like, I literally covered this in the very video that I, in a sense, dedicated to you. Right, your name was completely up there in lights. People knew exactly who you are. You stated that, I wasn't going to talk about the story, and I did actually talk about the story. It's just not how you wanted me to talk about it. But I brought up the topic, right, directly on the platform. Well, it is what it is. But, it's crazy that people, say that I do absolutely nothing. If I did absolutely nothing, we would not be having a innocent conversation, I guess you could say. You wouldn't even know that I exist. You wouldn't even be here at this moment in time. It seems like the person who is really not doing anything in life is the one that's spending all of their free time focused on me, right? Coming back to my platform, deciding to peruse through some videos and leave a whole paragraph in a book of their emotions directly on my platform, which I created directly for myself, right? But like you said before, I'm doing absolutely. Let me go back. Let me just make sure I read it how you stated it, right? Because you don't have an actual job. You're right. I don't have an actual job. I don't have a 9 to 5 like everybody else. But shout out to everybody out there that is doing the thing and they got a 9 to 5 and they're working two jobs and different things like that. Like I said before, people do the things that they want to sit up there and do. Some people are very successful and very great at doing 9 to 5 and working one, two, or maybe three jobs and holding those down and being the utmost successful with those jobs. Other people, right, are meant to sit up there and create their own. Like I said, I am a entrepreneur. I'm pretty sure that's foreign to you. You don't exactly know what that fully means yet. But one day when you actually create something for yourself and on your own without the help or the due diligence of anybody else, and you're the one that's basically up 12 to 15 or whatever hours a day, and you're doing videos, reading through articles, doing different things like that, or whatever your channel may consist of, you'll actually understand the full meaning of what an entrepreneur actually is, what it actually details, and what it takes to actually do what it is that I do on an every single day basis, where you can clearly, just sit from your cell phone screen and you're not doing nothing. And you're sitting up there in a lazy boy, probably with a nacho stained, coffee stained t-shirt, haven't taken a shower in like the last 30 days and on some government assistance, but you're complaining about me not having a job and not actually doing anything. Okay, like I said, I can tell the timeline that you're actually from, and you're pretty old because your mentality and the way that you think is clear. It is crystal clear directly in that very last comment. And then on top of that, I have many other things going in the background, which, I'll talk about later on, sometime deep in the future. So that, when I just so happen to come back to a lot of these comments where people want to say, a lot of stuff, hey, it's going to be something. It's going to be something. But, like I said before, just remember, I didn't call nor did I send for you. You came to me. That shows you the difference in the type of energy that we have. My energy is strong enough to basically attract you here. You could have been anywhere else on social media. You could have been anywhere else in the world. You could have been minding clear cut your own business, but you decided to come right here to me. And then not just once, but twice. And that puts a smile on my face. Like I said, I love it. I love it. And at the end of the day, the other reason that you guys keep coming back here is because you know that I will actually give you some attention. Other people who are running platforms like this, they're not going to spend a wink, a moment. They're not going to spend a night directly on your trash, garbage comments. They're not going to sit up there and do it. I'm nice enough and kind enough, right, to make some time to put your comments directly out there so that the other people that clearly want to speak and clearly want to say something, if just so happen they want to be in the same line that you're in, clearly it is clear cut open. You don't even got to take tickets. Just stand there and we'll have you up there in a second. Like I said, I love it. I love it at the end of the day. And right back at you there, guy. Stay safe and stay healthy. Make sure you get all your shots and make sure you're completely fine and dandy for when that passport comes out.